morning. Welcome to Pour Over Marketing. I am Rob Southgate. You probably know that by now because it says it on everything, I think. So, welcome to the show. I am always excited to be here, and today is no different. Uh, let's see if we get anybody watching us today. I've been experimenting with how we do this. If not, we got plenty to talk about, and you watching later will get your fill. Let me try to get this adjusted so that we are looking more at the camera rather than looking off. It's a little bit difficult. Hold on to get this right. There we go. I prefer it when I'm talking to you and you feel like I'm looking at you as opposed to me looking off to the side. Although when I get comments, I do have to look to the side. I wonder if show comments on stage. Boom. That's in beta. They do a thing, if you've watched the last couple episodes, where you see the comments show up on the side here. Ooh, see how it's a different color? So when people start writing in, it's going to show up on the screen. I also then, for the good ones, I put them across the front of the screen right here. But this is pretty cool. I really like when it does this. And we might as well throw a banner on there while we're at it. And we will change this throughout. So this has been a really interesting week. I had said I wanted to talk about AI today, but I didn't get anybody talking about it per se. So I thought, you know what? Let's save that one. Maybe I'll do that Thursday night. We'll do almost like a presentation about AI. Maybe. Maybe. You know me. It depends on my whim. I did get a new mug. I should show it off. Look how cool this mug is. This is from a band that we went to see this week. It's a band that I like a lot. Simon Joyner and the Nervous Stars. They were in Chicago this week. So we went down and saw them, and I bought the mug. The opening act was amazing, and I don't remember her name. I should probably look so I could tell you what her name is, even though this is actually some interesting information. She's a tough one to market. And the reason is it's Leah Senior, Leahsenior. If you can see it, that's her Instagram, Leah Senior Music. I bet you can hear samples of her music there. But I got talking to her, and her music is fantastic. There in the space, it was kind of folk. It had this. It just sounded like so many different really great folk artists, but not like a ripoff. You could just feel the inspiration kind of seeping through. And then in the second half, she switched over from piano to keyboard, and all of a sudden it felt like there was like a Jethro Tull feel to it and then an ELO feel to it. But once again, not ripoffs, not covers. It was just really exceptional. So I got talking to her afterwards. I had already bought the album and bought Simon's mug. We have all of Simon's albums, so that wasn't. Oh no, I did buy a CD from him that was a limited to 200 pressings. So that brings us to some marketing stuff. So it's interesting with Leah. I got talking to her. She's Australian. She said that it was great that I bought the album. You know, she was so thankful. And by the way, the album is fantastic. And what's interesting is listening to the album at home, you heard Sarah McLachlan and Joni Mitchell very strong through that, which I didn't notice there. But the album it's fantastic. And she said, "Oh, I'm glad you bought it. You can't get it here." So because of tariffs and because she is an indie, she can't afford to send the albums over, or the albums would be like $40 a piece and nobody's going to buy it. So she said it's going to, and I can't ship back and forth for merchandise not sold. So it's really way too risky for an indie artist to get their music out there. And I thought, wow, I hadn't thought of it in those terms. So good thing we bought the album, right? Then she also said, yeah, I also don't like how Spotify does business, so I won't let it go on Spotify. So if you can't get it on Spotify and you can't buy the album in stores, it becomes tricky. How are you getting exposed to this artist? How are you finding her? So if we peel it back, we find she's kind of doing integrated marketing from a low level, because she's really just marketing herself and hopefully the album. She's doing it by playing live, by touring, in this case, the United States. I believe that Simon met her when he was touring uh, Australia, New Zealand. So this is how she is getting the word out, by hitting the streets, which is interesting because that's how it used to be before all the social media and everything. Like REM, the way they spread the word is they had a van, and the four of them lived out of this van basically and played every college party that would have them. Hey, you want a band for tonight? We'll play. And that's how they spread the word. And they had their, I think it's Chronic Town was their first EP, and they would bring that and they would sell cassettes and sell the album if they could. And there was no social media. There was no way to get the word out except hitting the streets. So that's what she's trying to do. Although you're only reaching, in this case, Simon's audience, which is not huge. Go to the UK and his audience is huge. Here in America, not huge. So I thought it was really interesting that she was saying, like, she's purposefully cutting off a couple of avenues because of business decisions and ethical decisions, in her case, moral decisions. And she did name a couple other places that are like Spotify. I believe Spotify because I use Spotify all the time. Okay. I really like Spotify, but they don't pay the artists. Very little. It's like pennies an album or something. It's ridiculous. Somebody's making money off of these subscriptions, and it is not the artist, which is not great. Now, will that change in the future? Yeah, they'll probably start putting ads. So you're listening to an album and there'll be an ad in the middle of it. That's like the only solution to taking money, making money that you can give to the artist. And even then, they'll probably give the artist pennies and they'll keep the lion's share. Hopefully it won't come to that, though, because I don't want ads in the middle of my music like that. You just go back to listening to the radio. So she was saying there's a couple other ones, and she named one. And she said, yeah, I'm going to put all my stuff on there. I just don't know what it is. I've never heard of this app, and I can't even say it now because I've never heard of it. But she said, yeah, it's one that a lot of artists are leaving Spotify for to go to this. So it's interesting. So how do you market somebody like her? Now, social media is the answer. It's all the stuff we talk about, actually. It's all the stuff we talk about. It is social media. She should have a blog on Substack where she's building momentum there. She's playing music on there. You can distribute your music on there, have your paywall, and get introduced to people that way and make friends, get people into you. Taylor Swift built her career originally off of that. She was on MySpace, and she kept putting her music up on MySpace and interacting with fans. And as the fan base grew, she made sure that this is really interesting. It's in the book. I think it's 10 million followers or something. It talks about how she made sure that no matter what, she did my thing, always have the last word. So if you wrote her on MySpace, she is the one who wrote you back. She made sure that she was interacting with every single person, trying to build a fan base by being accessible, by being herself. And obviously it worked, right? I think you've heard of Taylor Swift. And that's what Leah's trying to do. Leah? Lee. That's what Leah's trying to do. Has built her audience more organically. It's hard. It's really hard. What else could she do? I would just try to be everywhere I can on virtual events. When I was doing the show Music Under Glass, if I was her, I'd be watching for shows like that, if they're even out there, and hitting them up. She should totally be hitting me up. Uh, if I go back to doing something like that, I've talked about doing this live show, not this, but a live show, much like Live at the Blue Box. And I would bring in music under glass again. And if I did that, I mean, that would be, if I was an indie artist, indie musician, I would be all over that. I would also be trying to get on podcasts and make sure that you're playing music that's not cover, stuff that's not licensed. So you can say, hey, I want to expose myself to people, let them hear what I do, give my story. That's what I would do. What do you think? Any ideas? I know somebody's here. Somebody's lurking. So then Simon Joyner was excellent as well. He's always excellent. He's very popular overseas. Here, people don't know him, and I think he likes it that way. He likes to fly under the radar. Molly has all of his albums, except that night he had this CD that was, one of 200, and it was a live show. And this was interesting. So his bass player recorded a live show of his band, and Simon said to help sell more at the shows, the second disc can be my performance at this live show. So it's really a double album, two different artists, even though the bass player's on both, right? Simon was trying to help him, and they did a limited edition. Smart. 200. Do you think they'll sell 200? Yeah, I think they will. If they had said 1,000, like, you could take a while for it to get to 1,000. Well, I'm number, 150 out of 1,000. You've had this thing out for 20 years. But 200? I mean, if you think about it, on a tour, if they sell 2 or 3 per show, plus they have it in his store, 200 is probably a good number. We got like number 33 out of 200. It's brand new. So now we have everything except one album that we haven't been able to locate, which is out of print, which he doesn't even have a copy of, that he can sell. So we're searching. We'll find it. But it is interesting. He was creating urgency by knowing, put my name on it. I'm like, this would be like using an influencer, right? Partner with somebody. He has more mojo as far as the audience goes. They know his name, so they're more likely to buy it because his name is involved. Yet he's promoting you by having it be your album and selling it at his shows. And he said it to me right away. He's like, hey, it's my bass player. Like, oh, cool. Right? It's his band. And then the second side is this live thing that my band did with him in it so that it sells more discs, which exposes us to the bass player. I love it. I think it's very smart. And then they've never had mugs before. The fact that, me, I think I have a little bit of a coffee fixation. To get a good coffee mug for Simon Joyner and the Nervous Stars. It's a nice size, too. It's more of a Americano size. So it's a little smaller than what I usually have. It's perfect for an Americano. Perfect. Maybe you can tell. I find it perfect. So I did find, everywhere I go, I try to notice marketing things and what people are doing, use their ideas. And I thought this was really interesting to see how she was trying to do it, to see what Simon is doing, to experience absolutely amazing stuff. I can't recommend it highly enough. Everybody here should be listening to Simon Joyner. I'm going to write it down here. Check out Simon Joyner. Okay, I put it in the notes. Check out Simon Joyner. Also, I'll put her name down because you guys, if you can find her stuff, maybe on YouTube, maybe just Google her and you might be able to hear some of the stuff. I can't remember her name again. It's Leah Senior or Lee. There we go. Now, you're not going to find her on Spotify, like I said, but you should be able to find her elsewhere. She might be selling through Apple Music. I'm not sure. All she said is you can't get the album here, only at the shows I'm at, or if, in Simon's case, he owns a record store, he has like 4 copies. And then she said, and we're not on Spotify. but I'm sure you can find her, and it's worth checking out. Um, I've talked about this a lot before. That okay, so we're entrepreneurs, we're marketers, but there's an X factor that is very, very important in everything we do, which is to expand our minds and to be looking outside of our industry, to look outside of ourselves even. Um, I go to concerts, I go to art things, we go to, gallery showings and that. We go to plays, and we do this not only to be entertained and have fun, but every time you have a new experience, it creates new neural pathways in your brain and it makes you smarter. Now, does it stay? Does it mean you just keep becoming more and more of a super mega mind? I'm a super mega mind genius. No. What it does is it creates those new neural pathways. So when you encounter an idea or you think of an idea, it has a new place to go. And who knows what comes out of that? That's why I'm always saying, what was the marketing lesson? Where did this go? What is it? I looked at what they were doing. If I had interpreted it a couple of years ago, I might not have understood it in the same way or had been able to pull from it and say, how can I use this? But now I can, or at least kind of. Kind of. My neural pathways need lots of coffee, so forgive me if they're not firing quite as quickly this morning. So let's see what else. We got more updates. I can't talk about that one. I got an update. I got a really good update, and I can't talk about it yet because I can't. But it's really good. Good things are happening. Um, oh, I know what we can talk about. I've been actually using my ChatGTP wisely. I know I talked about AI last week, and I said we'd talk about it this week. Um, I took the lessons from last week and what I've been learning about it, and I'm trying to utilize it in what I'm doing because marketers are using AI, and why would I be the one to stand out and say, no, not a bit? No, I won't use it to create any video. I won't use it to create visual content. I won't let it write for me. Okay. But what I will do is let it take what I've written, highlight the keywords, make sure the keywords are in there. That makes a big difference. Give me a list of hashtags. Whether I'm using ChatGTP or SEMrush or Google, they're all pulling from artificial intelligence. That's how they're cataloging things. So it doesn't matter. It's not like I'm dancing with the devil to get what I want. Uh, I am using it as a tool, which I think is the way to go. If you're using ChatGTP or Claude or Otter, whatever it is, okay? If you use it like a tool and you use it wisely, you're not using it to create your content for you, I think you're doing things correctly. And I think you're being less harmful to the world in a big way. Plus, you're not feeding the monster, because feeding the monster just makes it worse, right? So this week, I did a couple of things. I've talked before about how old ideas come back, and we use these, right? I've got an idea that is, oh my God, at this point, it's 40 years old. I like to say it's 30, but I'm 57. So I think I thought of this one. It's okay. It's not quite 40. It's like 38 years old. Okay. I had an idea though. I was sitting with Maeve, who was my girlfriend at the time, like a year into it, and I was talking about this idea and started doing some legwork on it because I thought, hey, this is cool. This is something I could do. And I wasn't ready yet. I mentally wasn't there yet. I wasn't mature enough mentally to do it. Neural pathways weren't created yet. I needed more experience. And I needed to flesh it out more. I had this really cool idea, but it wasn't there. And it sat on the back burner. And every once in a while I'd think about it, and I'd get all excited, and I would do zero regarding it. Uh, but it came up again and again and again. And that's the interesting thing. When you guys have a good idea, I know we get scared. It's going to go away. It disappears. It doesn't. Yeah, we forget things. So it's not a bad idea to write some things down, but like if it's a good idea, something that nags at you, it can nag for a long time. This is 38 years of nagging, and it caused me to start this other thing, and I'm still not fully doing it. I'm just barely scratching it. But I now know how to do it. I know it'll work. I just don't know if it's what I want to do in the moment. So we had an idea a couple years ago where we love indie films. We love short films. We love going to film festivals. Love it. And we said, I'm noticing that there aren't places that do reviews, right? Of short films. I don't want critique. I want reviews. And that way, when you're going to a film festival, you kind of know, because they always say, oh, what do you want to watch? And you go, oh man, I read the description. It looks pretty cool, but I don't know. I'm not sure what I want to go to. Well, if somebody had compiled some reviews, makes it a lot easier. Then like, oh, this is what I want to do. So we were at Juggernaut Film Festival and we were watching films, and Maeve said, why don't you start by writing some tweet reviews? I went, oh, that's an interesting idea. Make them these short little bite-sized 150 character. We're watching the movie Quilt Fever at Juggernaut Film Festival. And the next tweet, follow to the next tweet. Next tweet, it's about this. Next tweet, here's my review, must watch, or whatever I say. And the review is always very basic. I really enjoyed it. Lots of heart in this one. Must watch. Okay. And we did a whole bunch of those. They were super cool, but we never did anything more with it. And then we finally went back. We were doing I forget what. It was during COVID, and we said we should do this, right? We should totally jump in on this. And we did. I might be a little early on this. There we go. So on our Southgate Media Group webpage, we made a logo and started putting some reviews up. That's what you see here. And then I did one for the Elgin. Oh, nope, it's gone. I did one for a film festival that I put on here. And I'm going to have to expand this. I'm going to have to go in and expand this because I have more film festivals that are on here. Oops. So we made it so that it has festivals, and then we made it so it has things we've reviewed. So these are all shorts that we've reviewed. We actually have about 24 more of these that we've reviewed. We just never posted because we let it sit. This was during COVID. So first we had this idea at Juggernaut. We did these tweets. Then we said, hey, let's take the tweets and we'll make posts about them. And we expanded them a little bit. And it wasn't getting traction because who's looking it up if they don't know what quilt fever is, if they don't know what hiplet is? They're not looking it up. We're like, how do we get this right? Well, last week, it all came together in my head. And that's the idea. When you have a good idea, or if you have something that you're working on, let it percolate, let it sit there and do its thing, because eventually it should rise to the top and allow you to make what you need to make. So in my case, it made short heads. So I went in, I wrote a thing about it, put the logo on, made a page. When you make a page like this, you actually have to make different pages. I had to make hidden in here is one that is festival information. Okay. And then on the main page, you have the festival information populate the main page. That's why I said it only shows 3. I have to go back in and say show 6 at a time or show 12 at a time. Okay. Then down here, and it should say show more. So there's a mistake. Then it gets down here to the reviews, and you can see I let it do a lot of reviews, show it in rows of 3, and it can be as long as it needs to be. I don't care. Right. That can go on for scrolling for days. For now, I'm not sure how we're going to have this thing land, but that was this week. We realized, okay, we could go back and we could do these things. And then I had to create a thing, and this is where I used ChatGTP. So here we go. We're going to Hiplet. So Hiplet, these are all standard. They all look like this. It's got the name, the big title, which is your H1 tag for good for SEO. It's got this information, good for SEO. Here's my review, my take, it's watchable, and then a description of the film. This is how they are all made out. With ChatGTP, I pretty much wrote everything you see here. I put it in there and I trained it to say, use what I've written. I want you to focus on the keywords so I know what to put in here. It's on how I worded it. And here's what it did. And it's cool because it's exactly what I wrote, but like ballet point technique with hip hop and urban dance styles, I might have written something. It's a fusion of ballet and hip hop dance styles, but the keywords were ballet point technique with hip hop and urban dance styles. Those are all keywords. So it added keywords. The rest of the words, everything else is what I wrote. And dance documentaries, I wrote that, but it tagged it. So now it's a keyword. So when the bots from Google crawl around, it finds it, or at least it knows this is what it's about. It's bold. It might be, they might have added an H2 or H3 tag to it to make it stand out a little bit more, because that's what Google does. Is it goes to your site and it tries to figure out what's your story about. That's why things like the title here are important. It needs to tell it what it's about. It says Hiplet because we can. Hiplet because we can. I bet it's down here again. Nope, it's not. But it's going to be down here in hashtags. Hiplet because we can. Right? So that's all I did is I had it take my words and just enhance the keywords. And I got this. And it was great. Some of the things I already had. Shot in Chicago's South Side. Yeah, I had that. At the historic Grand Ballroom, had that. What was interesting is I didn't know these were the keywords that were important. Now they are. It determines it by how much people are searching for these things. What are they looking for? There's a whole thing. You know what? For you and I, we don't need to know all of that at this point. Just to get something up and going, if you do this, it is putting the good stuff. You're good. If you wanted to get more advanced, that's when you go to like SEMrush and you search each of these things then, and you try to find, what are the keywords and what has a long tail, what's short tail, all that kind of stuff. But the average person doesn't need to do that. Then I put the picture in, and this is something else I hadn't done before. When I put the picture in, it has, it's linked. What do you know? It's linked right to it, so you can actually watch the short. It also, and it has click to watch underneath it. You got to make it easy for people. If they click on the poster, it goes to the thing. If they click on click to watch, I want to watch it. It goes to the thing. I know it seems like redundant. It's not, right? And then this has alt text to it. Very important for SEO. I added all that. We didn't have that before. And I put hashtags right on the page. Okay? I did this with each of these. Now, these are not done down here, but these three are. Hood is done. I think Zeta is done. Interesting. Those are the only ones I did that are here. There are a bunch that are not live yet. They're here. They're just not here. So we did that. The reason we're putting that effort in is number one, we finally have the idea. It finally works. Okay. And it's a little bit of work, but like every day I go in, I add 2 or 3 of these, and you can see I'm only posting things like every day I'll post one. Some of them I just update. Some days I post like the voice in your head I had never posted that one before. That's new. So it looks like a brand new posting. Like I just saw the movie. There are a whole bunch that I've already done. Every day I go in, I do 1 or 2. It takes me 10 minutes because it's all written. So we launched that this week. Here's the interesting thing. when I go to, and these film festivals have been great. I'll click on one. It's got all the information. You get it right off of their post. It's got all the hashtags, but you can see there are highlighted things in here. Cuff, celebrity diversity, celebrate diversity in storytelling. Chicago Underground Film Festival. Challenge expectations. Those are keywords. I didn't know challenge expectations was a keyword. This found it for me. This is exactly what I wrote with highlighted things. Easy. Okay, let's go back to the other thing. So then, geeking out is an important one for us. What it used to be was on Facebook, we just shared any geek event that showed up in the Facebook events. We just shared it, right? But we knew there was something to it. This was something that was originally created. It's funny. It was at the Blue Box. Kathleen, Chris's wife, had put on a poster, a sandwich board out front, geeking out, meaning we have an event. Come out. We're geeking out. Come out for an event here, whatever. And Chris and I were like, that's so cool. And I said, is it okay if I create a blog? And it's like, yeah, whatever. She just wrote the words geeking out on there. So I created a blog. And at first it was just taking these events from Facebook and putting it on and just sharing them. And it was just a way for me to have a place where I could look basically and say, what kind of cool geeky stuff is going on? Then we started, because there were these cool plays and these events, I was like, they should have some kind of review, because nobody reviews. Like, you don't go to review an improv show, but if it's a partially written one that has improv elements, that those deserve to be reviewed, and nobody was. So we started doing reviews, and here I can show you what that looked like. That's down here, reviews. Plus, then we figured out, look, in 2019, that was the last time I had worked on it. We made our own Christmas guide to things to do in Chicago. And you can see these are reviews of different shows that were pretty fun. And even this one's not even fun. This one was real serious. This was an excellent show. And they're not getting the press they need. So this week, maybe end of last week, I was talking about it with Maeve, and she said, you got to do something with Geeking Out. It's really good. About 6 months ago, I changed the logo. I made this header, and I'll go back. I made a logo for it. This is the logo. I think the logo is great. A lot better than what we used to have. So we have a cool header. We have the logo. I wrote this. I made a submission page. So if you have a geeky event, you can submit it right here. Okay. That way I don't have to hunt for them. But in the meantime, I had to do a little hunting. So I just spent every day, I'd look and see what kind of events would be good in here, what would fit. A Twilight musical parody, that fits. That's nerdy. A Peanuts thing, it fits. Well, here's what I found when I did the Peanuts thing. They're having a 75th anniversary, one event, one night. This one's for adults, but this is longer. This is months. It's an exhibit at the Children's Museum. It's for kids. So now we have Little Geek events. Interesting. Already the brand is expanding a little bit. I put the Underground Film Festival in here. I put a Spider-Man thing. Yeah, at first it was a lot of horror just because it's that time of year. I was getting horror stuff. There's a Yoko Ono Music of the Mind thing. Perfect for geek, right? That's where it's tough. I'm now the curator. I'm the gatekeeper as to what's geeky. So if Lee sent me that she was playing at the Hideout, it's not making it onto this. She's not. I mean, that's a band. That's going to see a band. Seeing a performance piece and artwork and all that by Yoko Ono, that's geeky. That's nerdy. So I started making these. I had to make, once again, I had to make an events one. I had to make a review one, put them all together, build out this thing, figure out how it looks. I'll click on one here. So now they all have a format. And the other day I found a list of events, like cons that are happening in Chicago. Found a really good list and was all nerdy, comic-y, pop culture-y stuff. And I just wrote to every single one of them and said, hey, if you'd like to be included in Geeking Out, send me your press release. This one, HoloFest, wrote right back to me. Now, look, they don't have the dash in it. I'm going to have to fix that. They wrote right back to me, sent me their press release, which, great. Here, I'm going in. Oh, it won't let me load that. Here we go. Let's get rid of the dash. It also looks like it's one word. Oh, no, it's capitalized. I'm right. Okay. There we go. Updated. So it should be that fast. There we go. So they wrote to me and sent me the stuff. I made this in minutes, sent it back to them. I used their press release, got the keywords in it, got their ticketing stuff. They gave us a coupon code, $10 off if you use SG Media. Interesting. Okay. Then they were so appreciative, they wrote back and said, hey, if you want a table and if you want a panel, we'd be happy to give them to you. It's really cool that you do this. Can't do it. Got a wedding that weekend. But I'm trying to think, is there another person I can gift this to give them a table? Because they obviously have a space they'd like to fill. If I could put something cool there, it's good for everybody. Then they wrote me and they said, hey, we were looking at Geeking Out. What a great page. We see you're doing something for Paranormal Activity. Do you think they would want a table? Okay. Here's Paranormal Activity. It's going to be live at the Shakespeare Theater in Chicago. Chicago Shakespeare Theater, I should call it. I wrote to them. I haven't heard back yet. But they were nice enough to write to us, and I've been back and forth with Paranormal Activity now. And look, all these keywords, all this stuff is there. So what we're seeing is we're building almost like a geeky influencer site. Not that that was the intention, but we're seeing these people are responding going, nobody's writing about us. Nobody's putting this out there. And it really came out of it with all the traveling that we do. We looked for opportunity. This is what you should be doing when you go places. Take note. It's like I said, seeing the concert the other night, I take note of things. They kind of stick in my head and I chew them over. Is there something that's usable? Is there something that we like about it? Is there something that teaches us a lesson? And one thing that we found was we travel, we go to Omaha, we go to Minneapolis, we go to New York, we went to Cleveland, Indianapolis, and each of these, Nashville even, I would search for like cool things to do. And you'll always get like the top 10 things from, Time Out Magazine or from the Culture Center. But it's not the geeky stuff. There's always good geeky stuff. There's a paranormal show. There's a ghost hunt. There's they're doing a throwback film festival. There's a play. There's a Star Trek tribute band. Whatever it is, the geeky stuff that we're interested in, there's never a list that gives you that. So that's what we created here. Now we're sticking to approximation to Chicago. It goes all the way into I'll even go up into, if there's something from Detroit, kind of driving distance, within 6 hours of Chicago, I'll put it in. I'd like it to expand and be able to do this for the whole country. So when you're traveling, you can type in, what's the, geeky Minneapolis, and boom, here's a list of these. And eventually we'll be able to compile, things to do this weekend, geeky things to do. If it grows to that point, that's when we have to have people working for us. Can't be me sitting here with my mouse and my Simon Joyner mug. Simon Joyner and the Nervous Stars, folks. Okay, so yeah, you can see. You can see what we're building, and this is only a week into it, and we've already got that much built into this, and we're already seeing people connecting, people wanting to talk to us. I got to figure out how to spread the word further. I'm putting it on Facebook on the Geeking Out page. I'm putting it on my page. But how do I expand outward? I got to really grow this thing now because I can see it has legs. So then we get these emails that I can't remember what the site is, but it's a site that I use for our WordPress, and it analyzes your pages. And one of the things it comes back with is what your page should be making. And every time ours should be making a heck of a lot of money, and it makes zero. And it has to do with clicks and advertising and blah, blah, blah. So way back, and I mean like probably 13 years ago, we signed up for Google AdSense. And we had it on a couple of things, but we didn't really know what we were doing with it. And we wanted to use it one way, and you can't use it that way. They've got all these rules. And we didn't really have blogs like this. So it comes up. We talk about it once in a while, and Maeve will say, have you figured it out yet? And I'm like, I haven't put the brain power behind it. So the other day, I'm looking at a blog, and it had a Google ad on it. And I was like, well, this isn't offensive or anything. Like, it's natural. When you go to a blog and it's got a post, ad, post, ad, post, ad, it's annoying. Then they do pop-ups that come up. Annoying. But when you have a blog and you're reading down and there's an ad in the corner or an ad on the side or an ad at the bottom, it's an ad. It doesn't interrupt what you're doing. What it tells me as the reader is, they're doing this work. It's free. That's how it's paid for. And maybe I'll click on it. Maybe there's something there. So yesterday, I went in and looked up our Google AdSense, got everything reactivated because it had been dormant for so long. It needed new tax information and blah, blah, blah. I did all that. I've still got it open like this because I want to show you guys something, but here, we'll shift. So then I went in, and this is the key also, do the research. I went to YouTube. I typed in, well, I did go to YouTube. I went to Google. I typed in Google Ads integrated into Squarespace blogs because I'm using Squarespace for this. And I found a woman who's fantastic. Her. Christy Price. Okay. Christy Price. That's her down in the corner. Okay. Great video. Great video for marketing nerds. Like you'd watch it and go, oh, yeah, cool. Okay, she's talking my language. And you can see I only watched 3.5 minutes of it, and it gave me the information I needed to get me going. So then I'll pull it back up. Boom. I went to Google AdSense. I figured out how to use it. Now, am I using it properly yet? I don't have everything in place, but I was able to take all of these and I added an ad at the bottom. There it is. I put it above the hashtags. So it automatically creates this one for Candlelight Chicago. They're not all going to be Candlelight Chicago, but Candlelight Chicago, the people reading Geeking Out, absolutely might click on that. I would. We're going to go to one. Let's see if it gives me a different one. Let's see if Little Geeks has. It might be Candlelight again. Oh, nope. Okay, whatever this is. But it's a Google ad. Ad choices, okay? I would love it if I could get it so it was smaller, but I haven't figured out how to make a smaller one, like a little banner, but I will. So now, since we've done this in the last 2 weeks, the film festival stuff and now Geeking Out have overtaken our website for traffic. Our traffic is way up. The time spent on the page is way up. Because think about it. If they were going to our page and they're looking up a podcast, they might scroll through like, oh, cool. Okay. Oh, here's the newest one. Click. It's like a minute at best that they're on a page. That's not good enough to make any money. And none of them have advertising built into it. No, nothing. Okay. And I tried to make the content interesting. I put the Instagram so they can see the pictures. They move. Okay. I made it interesting, but still, it's just a landing page for a podcast. The blogs are where it's at. The blogs are really where it's at. That's the new content coming out all the time and really interesting stuff. There you go. Candlelight Chicago again. And what am I noticing when I look at the analytics? It's only been a week and a half, let's say. A good percentage of the traffic is this stuff. You can see what words are getting searched for. They're not all coming from within. People search for paranormal activity. It's going to my page. Now, here's what's interesting. SEO doesn't work that fast. SEO is long tail. It takes forever. The bots are finding it, but if you go to Google, let's try it. Paranormal activity Chicago play. Let's just see what happens. There it is, Chicago Shakespeare. Okay, we're not there yet. We're not there. So interesting. Where are they coming from? They are finding us. These are all strictly theater places. Okay. It has not had time to find this on our page yet. Now, when I say it's long tail, when you do these types of event type things, and they are shorter term, there I am, all the way down here. But I'm showing up now. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I didn't know that. Okay, so you can see that this effort is working. And now, as we build audience, the more people go there and see those ads, number one, the clicking on the page where the ads are will start working for you. If they click on the ads, which people do, you start making money. So I was looking it up. I was looking at our old stats, and I found we had made like $6. And I went, why did we make $6? Oh, it was one page that we had ads on, and it just sat there forever. And over time, people have clicked on it enough to make us $6. I'm telling you, it's not a popular page. It's just one that we did as a test page. And it worked. I mean, $6 worth, it worked. But it worked. That kind of stuff will add up. Now you have to be smart and say, we get into once again, the integrated marketing part of it. Where do I want to put it? What's the message? Because I'm not going to put up, I put up what the individual posts are, but I need to create a campaign. What was that? I need to create a campaign around brand awareness for geeking out and brand awareness for short heads. Who's my target market for each? Where are they? How do I communicate this? Because just putting the reviews, just putting the info up, yeah, you're going to get people that are going to click on it. And yeah, there may be a call to action. Never miss a whatever. Click here. But I need to do more than that. I need to figure out what are all the avenues that I can think of that the audience would be at that would interact with it, and how do I get it there in front of them? It's kind of like we just started 2 new businesses, even though they've been lurking for a while. The other thing that we've done, and this is in the last few months, is honed some of the podcast stuff that we do. Giving you guys a lot of behind the scenes fun here. Because let's face it, you guys with your businesses need to be looking at it the same way. You need to be looking at things and figuring out, where are my areas of opportunity? What can I go back to the drawing board on and fix, or what's worth not fixing? Leave it alone. So I'm going to try and go to the one. So we have this show, Alley Chats. Alley Chats has been around for quite a long time. I really like the show, but it was always without a rudder, we'll say. Okay. I'm trying to find where the website is on here. Um, shoot, because I want to show you what it's looking like at this point. So maybe it's here. Nope. Maybe I can go here. So Alley Chats was one that we really liked that should be great, and I could never get it to do what I wanted. I had a concept of what it was, and it was cool, but it wasn't until we said, wait a minute, uh, here's the default site. Let's see if I can do it from here. There we go. Now I can share it with you guys. I was distracted while I was trying to figure it out. Go, and we'll do this. We'll do screen share. There we go. Okay. So Alley Chats, there's our show. The whole idea was, it was, once again, an idea that came out of COVID. The whole idea was we were going to, what's this one look like? That's cool. We were going to have a show. Our friends that are artists in Artist Alley, comic book writers, artists, musicians, people that you would find in an Artist Alley at a pop culture book, con, whatever, now didn't have a place to go because they were shutting them all down because of COVID. So we said, well, let's make a virtual one. That's where we created Alley Chats. And I would interview people that were going to be that you would find in an Artist Alley. Okay. And it was random. And it was random for years. Whoever I happen to get, I'd say, oh, I'm going to put you on Alley Chats. Like, oh, great. So I have some really great interviews. Like, if you're a comics person, I have Peter Baggy and I have Art Baltazar. Those are big names. Peter Baggy's a huge name in the indie comics world. And Art is very popular now with everything from DC fans to kid collectors to whatever. I had a variety of people that you would find in Artist Alley. I'd have authors, I'd have whatever. I don't like this one. I'm going to go back to this. So a couple months ago, I decided I need to go back and rebrand this thing. I wrote better show notes. Once again, I used ChatGPT once. I wrote my show notes. I put it in. I said, optimize these. It came back. And what it optimized was really good. It changed a few things. And I said, okay, I now have a framework. And all my notes from here on out, just use that framework. That's it. I used it as a tool. It's great. But I started bringing in, let's see if I can show you where it changes. Yeah, here it is. So you can see I was treating it like the other. Sean Whitney, Dead Rises. Doesn't tell you who it is or anything. It just tells you that's what it is when you look at the title. Elizabeth was from Books and Brews. Great. Then I started changing it. So now it says what they do. And I curated it. I now have, I went back and I said, what do I like about it? What works about it? What does the audience like? This is what you need to do with your business is each of these little things, even if it's running and you're happy with it, go back and say, what would I change if I could? What if? Ask the big what if question a lot. Think about your audience. Why are they here? What do they like? What is my customer after? How can I make the experience better for them? So in my case, I realized if you're walking through Artist Alley, I like to see the variety. I don't want just comic book artists or writers. I want to expand my geekiness. So I took Alley Chats and I did that. I made a calendar. I put categories. Okay. Artist, writer, musician, filmmaker, actor, right? And then I started contacting people I wrote down the names of people I knew or that I wanted to get on, so I had enough to get me through the end of the year. Okay. And I put them in their categories and I was like, is it balanced? I got a zine store. I love zines. Zine. I got a filmmaker right away. Got a filmmaker. Here's a voice actor. You can see it on here, right? I took podcasters. They do paranormal podcasting. Interesting. Comic writer, comic artist, comic creator. Here's somebody who created their own virtual con. They're a podcaster. They're a pirate. There's another comic artist because Artist Alley do have a lot of artists. But this guy, comic artist writer, he writes like they look like strip comics. And they're really interesting. Here's a sci-fi author. I have some really cool stuff coming up. I have some more filmmakers. I have a filmmaker that's dropping this week. But what I did was I tried to curate it and say, what is it the audience would get most engaged with? Here's the byproduct of it. See if I can show you. See that spike? All-time 2,463 views. In the last 7 days, 291. Okay, that's higher than 10%. It happened in the last 7 days. This month, 336. This year, since I've taken this thing back over, 904. That's a big spike. You can see this is where I was playing with it. July is where I started it. For some reason, it dips in August. And then wham. Here we go. Are those wham numbers? Are they numbers that make you go, oh, good Lord, this thing's going to be incredible? No, not yet. But now we have something. Now we are gaining momentum. I went back to the drawing board on it and I said all those things. Now we're at a point where I'm looking at other things. I'm saying, okay, we did this part of it, this important, vital part of it. What are the areas of opportunity? What can I do with it? Could I take it? And I could. Could I make a blog out of the interviews where it's literally just transcripts of the interviews? Put it on Substack. It's just got those transcripts with the link to the show so they can listen as well. What do I do with that? Well, now I create a social media strategy because right now I'm talking to the same people. I'm sending it on Facebook. I'm sending it on Blue Sky. I'm sending it on Instagram. No, I'm not even sending it on Instagram. So let's go to that. Instagram. I really like these things where they have the panel. See if I can show you, and then we're going to have to stop. Unbelievable. Let's see. There's Molly. Hey, Molly. Here we go. So this is what it looked like before. If you look at this, it's kind of one long image. I'm still working on how to do it. You can do it through apps. There are different ways you can do it, but I found I could make it myself. I just got to get the sizing. I'm so close. Okay. That is one banner split into three. It's just, I've got the sizing off just a hair, but I found I don't need to buy an app for it. I found this Pine Tools. It's free. You can do all sorts of things in here, including taking one long, and look, here's one of those ads. SEM Rush right here at the top. Same thing I'm talking about. Let's see if I can find. Does it have my projects on here? I don't see it. Okay, we're not going to do that. But you get the idea. I went in there, figured out the sizing. I'm still not quite there, but it's damn close. Now, when I post a new Alley Chats, I'm going to make a banner. So on the Instagram, I don't need to have day-to-day. I can put banners. Bam, 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 bam. But am I going to do that? No. I'm going to use the 2-5 rule where it's got, I do like I do a regular post. Hey, today we're coming up at whatever time. And then I do one that advertises coming up next week or subscribe to Alley Chats. Then I do 2 more that are regular behind the scenes picture, maybe something nerdy. And then I do for number 5, I'll do a banner. This is the one that's happening right now. Link in bio. Then it goes back to 2, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's always curated a certain way, and it's going to look like banners when you scroll down. I actually might have that wrong. 2, 5 is the formula that people use, but I think I'm going to have to do. Maybe I'll do 2, 6. Or 3, 6. So it always looks even. 2, 6. That way it's 1 and then an add. Then 1, 1, 1, 1. Boom. Big one. Then back to 1, 1, 1, 1. It's curated. It gives it a certain look. Now I have something cool that people can go to and they get a visual impact from it. It's not just looking like my Facebook page, but guess what? It's the same stuff I'm putting on Facebook. I'm just not using Meta to put it over there. These triple things I'm doing exclusively on Instagram to give it a vibe. Okay. We got into the weeds. Lots of stuff today. Thank you guys for listening. I will be back. In fact, I believe, let's look. I believe Thursday I am doing. It doesn't say on here. Well, shoot. It does not say when my next one is. So I'm going to have to look when I get out of here. But I am doing, I believe that Thursday is, wait, I can actually tell you here. Yeah, we go. Yeah, I think Thursday I'm doing a happy hour. Okay. So this coming Thursday, there's a happy hour. And then Saturday, I'll be doing an on the road from Omaha. And then, yeah, we're just going to keep going from there. So we got to spread the word about this, though. Those of you that watch this, try to watch when we're doing it live so we can have interaction, so there can be comments. We can talk about stuff. I'm trying to figure out the focus of the shows today. We went off in a different direction than what I had intended, but I had lots of ideas to talk about. I think that's what Saturdays will be. Thursday nights are AMA combined with a talk about something. I think that's how we're going to do it. So there you go. Thank you for watching, everybody. Be sure to go to Substack and follow robsroundup.substack.com. And you can subscribe to Mic Drop, which is my podcasting blog. You can subscribe to Pour Over Marketing on there. There are going to be, by the time I'm done, there's probably going to be 5 or 6 different blogs that are promoting the podcast, that have articles, lots of information. Tickle whatever fancy you have. That sounded really weird. All right, everybody. Thank you again for watching. And I will see you hopefully Thursday night. Otherwise, Saturday, I'll be watching you or talking to you from Omaha, Nebraska. Have a great night. I need a lot more coffee. Have a great day, everybody.